Hey there, fight fans. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe this episode of Combat Sports Talk. Welcome to Combat Sports Talk, a podcast dedicated to UFC and Bellator discussion, the MMA community, and combat sports in general. I'm your host, Ryan Smith, and joining me this week is the gladiator with the keys to victory, John Keys.
What? Yes. Hey, hello, everybody. How's everything going? Yes, I am armored up today. I'm busy fighting tigers and snatch and playing jump rope with rattlesnakes and riding bears. So this is what happens. So.
That's right. So for those of you who are listening to the podcast, John has a rather large shoulder harness, looks straight out of the movie Gladiator. The guy with the Titus, right? The guy with the big steel helmet with the face mask that comes up and down. He had one of those, right?
It was shoulder armor. Yes.
Yeah, it was shoulder armor.
Basically, if you've ever had any type of injury to your shoulder, they put you in a compression, and this is basically what it was. I injured my shoulder a couple of months ago, and this is part of the rehabilitation process here.
He threw a right hook, but he didn't rotate his hips properly. You gotta rotate your hips.
That's exactly what happened, and And here I am. So, but look at the other guy. Wait till you see the other guy.
Wait till you see the other guy, right? That guy didn't rotate his face properly, and now he's sitting there. He's on the ground.
He's sitting there looking at the back of his heels right now, standing up. You know what I'm saying?
That's kind of like when Michael Bisping caught that shot from Kelvin Gastelum. His head was like an owl, went 270 degrees.
Exactly. Oh man, did we have a fight last night? Oh my God.
We had an amazing fight last night. UFC 262, Oliveira versus Chandler, Saturday, May 15th, 2021 at the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas, our backyard. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. This is the official decision. This is the official decision. This is where we talk about the fights on Saturday night. There were so many fights that are worth talking about. It is unfortunate that we're not going to be able to get to them all. So this was one of those cards that if you look at it, it doesn't have a bunch of star-studded names like a lot of people look for, Mm-hmm. But when I talk about the fact that this was an edge of your seat kind of card, that is an understatement. This was an amazing card. If you can go back and find clips, go back and find clips. If you even though you know the results, you can still go back and watch this fight. It is worth watching this card for that. So let's go through it. We had 5 fights on the main card. The first fight of the night was Edson Barboza versus Shane Burgos. I had Shane Burgos winning this fight, but Edson Barboza showed that he is 3-0 at featherweight, and he does not intend on slowing down, stopping Burgos by KO. I don't accept the TKO. It was a knockout.
That was a definite knockout. That was a fist of the North Star. You are already dead. Knockout.
Your little fist couldn't hurt a fly.
Zito, you're already a dead man.
What?
There it is. Fist of the North Star.
Yes, and we'll explain that because basically what's happened if you watched it, Barboza hit Burgos with a straight left and a right hook. Okay, and looked like Burgos had poker face the entire night, and he looked like he was doing fine, and then all of a sudden he started stumbling backwards, and he was dead. He was knocked out right there. Everybody started tripping because they didn't understand what was happening. Let me explain to you what happened, okay? Because to understand a concussed state, it's a series of unfortunate events, okay? The straight left set it up, but it was the right hook that really did the damage, okay? Because, when you have a concussion, what you know is that the brain is hitting against your skull. Okay, so think about it. He got hit first, and it wobbled back, and then out of nowhere, boom! It got hit on the side. And at that moment, that all the neurons in your brain just starts depolarizing. Basically, it just starts cascading the brain with all sorts of commands. In other words, he did the human version of a blue screen of death and crashed his system. Now, knockouts like this are very rare. All right, they don't always happen like this, but they do happen. Most knockouts are pretty quick. They happen like that, but they all have the same effect. It's cascading your body, your neurons are flooding your brain with so many commands that it just literally crashed. His just happened to go a lot further, and that's actually, in my opinion, a little bit more dangerous, because the last time I saw this was in kickboxing, and it ended up with the person being dead afterwards, unfortunately. So we got to watch that situation.
Yeah, once they got him up off the ground, it was, he seemed to be alert, having conversations. He was joking with Edson Barboza, because Edson Barboza said that when he landed it, he knew that he had landed a hard shot, but he didn't see any indication from Shane Burgos that he had, that he was hurt. So he was going to come forward, and then all of a sudden, Burgos starts fading backwards, stumbling, and then when he hits the cage and falls down, his eyes are open, but you can see his hands are flat on the ground. He has no idea where he is.
Yeah, he literally checked out there. His body's just slowly said, guess what's not working anymore, and that was it. And blue screen of death. Sorry if we ran into a problem. Stop error. It was bad. It was real bad.
The only other time that I've seen delayed reaction finishes are when you get that liver kick, right?
Exactly.
You get kicked in the liver, your body tenses up, and as you try to move forward, you just don't have the legs anymore, and you just bowl over into a fetal position because you can't react anymore. That's the only time that I've seen the delayed reaction. This was entirely new for me.
Well, it's actually the same effect that when you get hit in the liver, things start shutting down real quick, because there's certain body parts that are definitely weak spots for the human body. The temple, the sternum, the kidneys, and the liver. All right, hard shots to any of these places will end you, no matter what size you are, no matter how big you are, no matter how strong you are. Liver kicks are.
You left one out. You left one out.
The calf
kick. The calf kick.
Oh, the calf. That's right. Back of the knee and the calf. That will shut you down as well. Okay. That'll have your ankles rolling like it was on a dice board. Okay.
Right.
Trust me.
Like...
yeah. So, I mean, it's just the same effect that you would get, except you're conscious for that pain. And that's a whole different pain. Trust me.
But this is one thing that I like about this sport. Because yes, you've got the mano a mano kind of thing, but now that we are starting to break down the physiology of the human body and places that you have to now protect or some otherwise harden so that you don't get instantly, an instant finish, or the blue screen of death, as you put it. We keep our hands up and our chin tucked so that we're not catching that shot to the temple or to the jaw, which is also one of those
another spot.
Resets you. You keep your elbows in tight to protect your kidney, your liver and your kidneys. I guess they're on the back, so there's not really, you keep your back turned so you don't catch those kidney shots. But at the same time, there's so many places you have to be thinking about defending that it's really hard to then have offense. So that's what makes this sport so exciting for me, because of the fact that all of these things are coming into play in real time, lightning fast. That's why we watch the sport. Let's go to the next fight of the night. Viviana and Araujo.
What? No.
That's it. Araujo. I'm close enough. I ripped her name into little bitty shreds last night on the live broadcast. I couldn't even get it out. So Araujo or Araujo, either way.
Araujo.
Viviana Araujo. I am so much closer this today than I was yesterday. So shout out to Vivian. I am sorry that I got your name so terribly wrong. I actually listened to them saying I'm going to say it right on the show, and then blew it. Yeah. But it doesn't matter because Caitlyn Chikagian defeated her by unanimous decision. Araujo came out and was just throwing bombs, dude.
Yeah, I'm one of my fundamental rules, one of the fundamental keys to victory is you never leave it in the hands of the judges. And last night was also a hard lesson in several fights.
Yes.
This was one of them, in my opinion. I don't think. No. Well, I think that needs to be ran back.
I don't think it needs to be ran. I don't think you need to run this one back. I think that Caitlyn Chikagian absolutely won the fight. The second round was close. The third round was not close at all.
Right.
But Caitlyn Chikagian clearly lost the first round. So to have two judges score at 30-27, I was like, what were you watching? What did you see? Because there's no way that Vivian Araujo lost the first round.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. I think she won the first and the second, but not the third, because Chikagian was there and she was doing that. Yeah. Okay.
The second round was very close. I had Chikagian winning the second round just because of the volume. Araujo took Caitlyn Chikagian down, and I had her in some type of a submission hold, but it wasn't, and so she ended up gassing herself. She gassed herself out in the second round. So what ends up happening is Caitlyn finished strong, stole the round, and then Araujo came out in the third round and just looked like garbage. Like she was listless. She couldn't hardly move, and so it was like, at that point I was like, yeah, Caitlyn got this fight won, but not 30-27. That's two judges to score that. That's ridiculous. But that's not even the worst, most egregious. The most egregious was in the prelims. But we're not unless you want to talk about it. I'm going to talk about what happened with the Michael Chandler fight. I don't know if you.
Yeah, let's go there. Let's go that route. Yeah, let's go that route.
All right. So you got Matt Schnell, who's Mississippi born, but lives in Houston, who's fighting Rogerio Bontorin. There you go. Bontorin.
It's a R. The R is R when it's not the first letter of the name. Okay,
yeah,
if it's the first letter of the name, it's an H.
Right. Bontorin. So, but you have to also emphasize the last part. So it's Bontorin.
Bontorin, yes.
Bontorin. Rogerio Bontorin. So Rogerio Bontorin missed weight on this. He was a pound over. And so everyone was saying, well, dude, you only have 3 rules as a fighter, right? Train, make weight, and win fights. That's all you got to do. Dude,
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Okay. In this case, everyone thought Matt Schnell was going to come out and just put on a show, but this dude was just, I don't know, maybe the lights were too bright for him to that, in your hometown, on a pay-per-view, getting that exposure. He just never really pulled the trigger. And Rogerio Bontorin just came in and was like, okay, well, somebody got to win this fight, so it might as well be me. And dude landed just great shots all throughout the fight. 30-27. I had this fight 30-27. One fighter had it 29-28. One judge had it 29-28. But Bontorin he won this fight.
Yeah. So let's talk about that hometown curse, because the hometown curse is real. Okay,
right?
You fighters don't fight. Fighters, please don't fight in your own hometown, because you'll lose. Okay, the last time somebody fought in Houston and lost like that to the hometown was Melvin, the young assassin, Guyard. Yeah, he fought. He came in and he was hyped up and everything like that, and got pieced out. Okay, I don't even think has the Black Beast fought in Houston. Has he fought in Houston?
I don't know if he's fought in Houston.
I think he did. Wait. I think he did. And guess who he fought with? If he did, guess who he fought?
Oh, well, go ahead and see. While you look that up, this is just one of those fights where I think that you're right. because of the fact that your family and friends can come and see you. You know, you're there. There's all that energy. You can easily adrenaline dump there. There's a lot of hazards and pitfalls related to fighting in your own hometown, especially if you're early in your career. Now, you know, we've got people like Michael Bisping who fought in his hometown. You know, Anderson Silva fought in his hometown. Unfortunately, he got finished. The more veteran fighters are able to compartmentalize that and it not be so effective. But for these young fighters fighting in their hometown, especially when they're relatively new in their careers, it does become an additional stressor, additional hurdle that they have to overcome if they want to succeed.
Okay, so I'm looking at his record, and he has fought, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4 times, I'm counting. 5 if you want to count, like, you know, the outside of, like, you know, of like Pasadena, Texas. Well, 6 actually. He's won them all. He's the only fighter that I can think of off the top of my head that has won every time he's been in his hometown.
There's a couple of other fighters that have won in their hometowns, but it is a real curse. You desperately need to overcome that last hurdle of fighting in your hometown. I mean, I think George St Pierre has fought in his hometown. You know,
he might be. No, he might. Yeah, I think you're right. You are right. He has fought a couple of times. I don't think in his hometown, but he has fought in his home country.
Well, yeah. I mean, fighting in your home country is different because, of course, you got so many Americans, and Vegas is one of the meccas. But you know, I think George St Pierre fought in Quebec or Montreal or something like that.
He is from Montreal,
and I think he's fought in Montreal, and I think of course he's won because he didn't lose to Matt Serra or Matt.
I'm sorry,
Matt. He didn't lose to Matt Serra in Montreal.
He won. He lost to Matt Serra in Houston.
Right there, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He didn't lose to Matt Serra in his hometown. He won in his hometown. So that's something that we can start looking at. We start tracking as well. Fighters fighting in their hometown and whether or not
5 times. 5 times he's fought in his hometown. Yeah, and he never lost.
There you go. So, but once again, these are fighters who are longer in their careers. Mm-hmm. When we start seeing these young fighters fighting in their hometown, it becomes an additional challenge. Let's go to the co-main event of the evening. Beneil Dariush put on a freaking clinic against El Cucuy, Tony Ferguson, beating him by unanimous decision. I said it. I said it on the show last week, and I'll go ahead and do it here. When you're on the hype train for Tony Ferguson and you're ride or die for Tony Ferguson, I knew this was going to happen. I knew Beneil Dariush was going to come in there and beat Tony Ferguson. I said as much on the show, but I'm ride or die for Tony Ferguson. That's my dude. So I picked him regardless of the fact that I knew that this was not a great fight for him. And I think that this really does confirm that this is it really for him. You know, and I know that Beneil Dariush was like, I don't want to see people saying that, you know, this is it for Tony Ferguson in his career. No, this guy was on a 12-fight win streak, piecing up everybody. He gets lit up by Justin Gaethje. He gets outclassed by Charles Oliveira, and then he gets drug around the ring and nearly, I would say that he was broken by Beneil Dariush. You're absolutely not going to. You can't say that Tony is the same Tony. He's not.
I hate that. I hate seeing this because, you know, it's one of those things you got to really consider the source. All right. First of all, let's think about the people he got beat by. Okay. All these people, you know, let's see here. What was it? Justin Gaethje fought for a championship. Yep. Charles Oliveira, champion. I'm going to say it. I'm done spoiled it. Champion. Okay.
Right.
And then we got Beneil Dariush, who's arguably the first contender for said champion. Okay, these guys are not tomato cans. These guys are not low-level fighters. Okay, so he got beat. I mean, he's that guy that could literally say, "I got beat 3 times by the very best."
Yes,
the very best.
But when you say I got beat 3 times in a row by the very best, what does that say about you?
Okay, so what that says about me is, and not giving any excuse for Ferguson, he should have started off slower than what he did.
Dude,
okay,
Beneil Dariush didn't give him any space. Beneil Dariush was coming in. He was right off the bat in his face.
He was as close to him as the shirt is on my body right now. Okay, he was literally on him, and he wasn't going to give up. He was going to make a statement. So yeah, I don't want to get that talk of this is the end for Tony Ferguson. And you know me, I am one to not give excuses. Once you close that door, you said you are ready. But after considering all the stuff that he's been through in the past few years, I wouldn't have went for Beneil Dariush. I would have went for number 7, number 8, number 10. I would have went for that dude first, and then rebuild my confidence. Because let's put it out there, Tony came out there, was like, he was looking good. He looked focused. He looked like he is ready to tear up something in the ring. Okay. However, when you have a guy that is going, that you know is not stylistically your best fight, and he comes in there and he denies everything, you had him in a submission for the majority of a round. Okay. And the dude wasn't going nowhere. All right. That says something. When your opponent has you in a heel hook, which is one of my favorite submissions, one of my favorites, because just for the simple fact that it comes on so quickly, it doesn't matter if you're what type of monster you are. Once you're in a heel hook, you're done. Beneil had him. He had him. He told everybody, I heard that pop. And Tony looked at him and took a deep breath and did nothing else. That's the reason why he let go. Well, that heel hook, because he had him. I saw it. He had him. And
oh yeah. I mean, but that's it. But
he's not over.
I disagree with you on one thing, and that is what it says about you when your last 3 fights are against the cream of the crop and you lose all of them in shocking fashion. Like, these fights aren't close. Like, it's different if you lose to the cream of the crop and it's a split decision, you know, where people are saying that you actually won. That's totally different than getting murdered by Justin Gaethje, getting outclassed by Charles Oliveira, and then getting ragdolled by Beneil Dariush. Beneil Dariush picked Tony Ferguson up, spun him upside down, and then dropped him on his head. Tony Ferguson said he was going to slam Beneil Dariush, and he never even got close. Now, so what this says is that Tony Ferguson is no longer elite. He may be a mere mortal again. I'm not saying that he needs to retire. I would not want to see him retire that way. Give him a tomato can. Let him go out, you know, with a victory. You know, but I think he's probably got still some good fights left in him. It's just not going to be for a belt. There's not a line of sight to the belt anymore. You got at least 3. You got at least 3 guys in front of him, and we didn't say Dustin Poirier. We didn't say Conor McGregor, and so any conversation about Khabib Nurmagomedov, we're not even going to entertain. This is how far Tony has fallen off the pace. And so it's hard for me because, like I said, I've been ride or die for Tony Ferguson since Tough 13.
Mm-hmm.
So
how's that feel to not defend Tony? How's that feel?
It feels dirty. It feels dirty to me because it's like, you know, for years I have been like, Tony Ferguson, I got Tony. You know, El Kukui, I've been yelling. Now it's like, for Tony's next fight, I'm not going to be able to just be like, yeah, Tony Ferguson. I'm going to be like, we'll see.
We're going to have to, we'll see. We'll see, you know, it depends on who they match him up with. I don't think he is top 10. He's definitely not top 5 caliber. Maybe he may be top 10 caliber. Maybe, you know.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he's somewhere between 8 and 10 when the new rankings come out. Not that rankings matter in the UFC, but I think he's probably 8 and 10, somewhere 8 or 10. And then, you know, I think that he becomes kind of that top 10 gatekeeper for the next couple of fights, fighting some of these top 15 guys. and we'll see what happens there. We did get a comment coming in from Bruce Bobtrotter. Says Benil's worst post-fight interview ever. What do you think? I think so. Benil versus the ghost of Karl Marx is the next fight, I guess. What a waste of time. Nobody needs to hear about your car problems. You know, I'm with you. Benail Dariush could have talked about so much else, but yelling at Elon Musk for a call out was him trying to be like that dude from Kansas City. What's his name with the beard? You know, where he called out Miley Cyrus.
Miley Cyrus? Yeah.
He called out Miley Cyrus, then he called out, the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, that guy is funny, but that's his shtick. That's what he does, right? Beneil Dariush, that's not your shtick, And so to go from, this political statement about Karl Marx and then going into yelling out about his car, it's like he's trying to find his identity. I think that he knows that in order for him to get to the next level, he's got to have a shtick, because that's how we've evolved right now. That's how we've kind of evolved in the UFC, is that if you want to get that title shot, then you've got to have a personality and you've got to be a bit polarizing so that people want to see you win as much as people want to see you lose. You didn't like the Miley Cyrus guy. I actually, in a couple of fights ago, I hopped on that hype train. I really like him, because he's a great fighter and he doesn't take it super serious. He's got a long way to go in his career. I think that'll mellow out over time, but it's funny to me because I was sitting on my seat, saying, who is he going to call out next? What ridiculous thing is he going to say? Way better, because it seems way more authentic. He seems kind of like that nerd guy that just happens to be a really good fighter, versus like a Henry Cejudo who isn't that guy, and he's trying to be cringy and stuff like that. So,
and on top of that, let's look at Beneil Dariush. He's been around for a long time, and he's never been known for that. Okay, the other dude, he just came on the radar, and he's hitting the ground with that. That right there is okay, because that's what we're going to expect. But if we have somebody like Beneil, who's been there forever, and then he tries to do something like that, it just doesn't come off right. And then Henry Cejudo, who has never been known for that, nah, bruh.
Henry Cejudo, I would have been okay. I actually would have been on the Henry Cejudo hype train if he would have just been quiet and just won. Just be quiet and win.
Well,
win.
Just win, we baby. Can't do that.
You can't do that. I would have been a bigger fan of Bobblehead if he would have. I think Bruce got it right, though. Benil's shtick is the Jesus freak. And if you watch the post-fight press conference, he actually goes back to that. And I think that is a more authentic place for him. I mean, when you're walking out to freaking Christian music and you got your hands in the air and you're screaming.
I'm sorry.
What?
He did come out to Christian music, didn't he?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So when you come out to
give Tony some put some respect on Tony's name. He still stayed in the ring, because that's some hard stuff to come out to.
Tony walked out second. So
okay, well, see, he shouldn't even came out. Okay, he should have been like, "Nah, dog, I'm good. All right,
I'm not fighting God."
Okay.
It's no fair. But Tony's the type of guy. Tony's the type of guy that will bring the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit in to fight all three of them at the same time. 3-on-1 battle royal.
So yeah, so does that go back to if you come out to music that's Celine Dionish, that you shouldn't be fighting, you shouldn't fight that dude?
I'm not gonna let you railroad this show with that with that bit. I'm just saying. But I do think that the persona that Beneil Dariush has as this Christian warrior, ergo soldier of God, I think that's a more authentic spot for him. I think that's what I see him and roll with that and be that guy that, we'll be rolling our eyes if he starts quoting scripture on the mic, but that's who you are. That's what you believe. That's what you do. Now, go back in for anybody, I always say this after a pay-per-view, watch the post-fight press conference. Yeah. Did you know that Beneil Dariush has an orphanage in Haiti?
No.
He built an orphanage in Haiti. Has 20 kids that he's taking care of in Haiti.
Now that's a warrior. That is warrior. Okay. I'm sorry. You know, you can't. Hey, if you do it, hey, call him what you will. Okay. If he's doing God's work on that level, that's respect.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody's got a problem with Beneil Dariush in that regard. You know, and he doesn't have a nickname right now, so this is as good as any. The Jesus Freak. But you know, it's you know, it is one of those things where I like the fact that there are just genuine good guys in the UFC who can also fight like freaking animals. And, you know, when we talk about genuinely good guys who can fight like animals, we got to go to the main event. Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler. Charles Oliveira defeated Michael Chandler via TKO, big punches, 19 seconds into round number 2.
Man, this was a great fight. You know, dude, you know, I was, when we were watching, it was, as I said in our little private chat, that whoever, if the pace is going to be like this after the first round, I was like, if the pace is going to be like this, you know, for the rest of the match, the champion shall be worthy. Because that first round was like, oh my God, they're leaving it in the ring, and sure enough, 19 seconds in the second round, we got a worthy champ. So yeah. Nothing. I can't say anything bad about Iron Mike. He, you know, even though does he have Dana White privilege? I don't know. I don't know. Okay, we're gonna say yeah, but we don't know. But well,
yeah,
Oliveira.
I don't think he come to the UFC, and I don't think he come to the UFC and fight one fight and get a title shot. That is not common. And so, no. You know, we know Dana White is real big on Michael Chandler. Is Michael Chandler worthy of that? Absolutely. The dude is a great fighter. He, you know, you can't deny him the championship. It's just that it came way earlier than what we thought was appropriate. That's all. But you can't deny a guy. It
was a series of unfortunate events, though. I mean, that's what we've talked about this. Because for the simple fact that the rankings don't matter, that a series of unfortunate events can get a guy that comes in with that came in from a different promotion after one fight, and guess what? You're fighting up now. You're here. Yeah, that's why rankings should matter.
Yep, it absolutely does. You know, just because you know Bruce might have missed the first story. You know, John was fighting tigers before he got here, and so you know, just he didn't have a chance to take off all of the battle equipment. So that's what's going on. So the first round was insane because you had Charles Oliveira, you know, really kind of doing his thing and was working the submissions. You know, got Michael Chandler down, takedown, was able to take his back, was trying for a rear naked choke. I started worrying because of course I had Charles Oliveira winning this fight when I made my pick last week. I started worrying when Charles had a figure four body lock on Michael Chandler. He's fighting for the rear naked choke, and then all of a sudden Michael Chandler spun like an alligator and reversed it from having Charles Oliveira on his back to being in guard. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
That's explosiveness.
That is explosiveness.
That was Ken Shamrock prime level explosiveness. Because I've only known one. That's the only other person I've ever known to be in a submission or at least in a lock that doesn't look like it's going anywhere, and then boom, he's not only out of it, but he's punching you in the face for it. And that was Ken Shamrock. That was that level of explosiveness. However, give credit to Michael Chandler. He had Charles Oliveira while Oliveira was putting a rear naked hold attempt on him. He stood up with him, on his back. And foolishly though, he dropped back. He tried to splat him out, but which you know, if you listen to DC, that's one of the worst things you can do because you actually set yourself back up. What he should have did, you know, and I've seen this many times, was spike forward. Make sure, and spike forward right on his head. That probably would have been a lot more effective. But
I mean, You know, it's 100%, you know, and we've seen that it works. But it's such a risky move either way, because if you go forward, then, you know, you don't,
you run the chance of you spiking yourself.
You can spike yourself in the head, but also you don't progress yourself the position any. If you go backwards, you're now stretched out, which is what they typically want to do. If you're in a rear naked choke, they want to stretch you out. So by throwing yourself backwards, you're already giving that position. So either way, it's a bad decision, but it's actually, there's, you know, more evidence, I would say, and this is coming just off the top of my head. There's more evidence of fighters getting out of having a fighter on their back when they go forward as opposed to going backwards. I think maybe there's one knockout going backwards, but I think I can think of two that going forward. So that's just the first half of the first round.
Yes.
Because eventually Michael Chandler does get back to his feet, starts striking, rocks Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira goes sprawling out next to the cage, and Chandler goes in for a finish. I said on the live broadcast last night, I thought Chandler had finished Oliveira. I'm like, this fight should be over.
Oh. I didn't see that.
Because Oliveira was taking tons and tons of damage. The referee was right here. I mean, we're talking milliseconds away from stopping this fight. Oliveira found a way to pull guard, to tie Chandler up, and he survived the round. But he was this far away, like this far away from being finished. And Michael Chandler in the post-fight interview, post-fight press conference, said that he thought that he was going to win that fight. He was like, "This is it. I'm gonna win this fight." And he goes, "But Charles Oliveira is so long that he was able to tie him up and keep him from finishing it." So we get into the end of the first round with Michael Chandler posturing up, trying to execute ground and pound on Charles Oliveira, and then we get to round number 2. And you know, someone asked me last night. They said, "Do you think that that Michael Chandler got a little too excited and, you know, was a little too aggressive, thinking because he had finished round 1 kind of strong that he was just going to kind of go in, throw the game plan out of the window?" And I think that that's possible. I think that having such success in that first round, he's thinking, I can win this fight. Let me go out here in the second round and finish it. And he ended up just getting caught. He got caught with just a clean right hand, went up against the cage, and then Charles Oliveira did what he tried to do in the first round, and now we have a new lightweight champion.
A worthy lightweight champion.
My kids came in and woke me up this morning, and they were like, "Dad, we heard you screaming." Because I'm broadcasting live, and I'm like, Michael Chandler goes down. Michael Chandler's out. He's out. Yeah. And I am yelling at the top of my lungs. Because, you know, number one, you know, it's unfortunate because George Stallworth picked Michael Chandler.
We know you out there, George.
We know you out there, George. And so I had picked I had picked Charles Oliveira. You know, I'd been advocating him after he beat Tony Ferguson and Khabib Nurmagomedov retired. You know, in all of our private chats and stuff, I have been advocating that Charles Oliveira needed to be in that moment at that time fighting for the title. And so to have him and his story coming from the favela in Brazil, and if you've not seen the favela, if you've not seen what a slum in an impoverished area looks like in Brazil, it's heartbreaking. I had the pleasure of traveling to Brazil for a conference, and on my way back to the airport, they took me by the favela, and I got to see what that's all about. And it literally, I mean, take a picture out of the townships in Johannesburg, you know, in South Africa, those just, you know, literal shacks side by side, and put that in Brazil, and that's the favela. So to have a fighter in Charles Oliveira who started there and now as of last night, became the undisputed lightweight champion of the world. This is truly starting from the bottom, and now I'm here. And that's why, for me, it was so emotional, because it's all about, for me, a lot of this, the fighting, the violence and stuff is nice, but for me, it's the story. It's what the fighter brings into the ring. And both of these guys brought a reason to be champion to the ring, because you've got that whole Michael Chandler story. He's got a great story. Charles Oliveira has a great story. And so it was emotional for me to see someone who fought for 11 years to get one shot, one opportunity, and he didn't waste it.
Amen. Well, neither man didn't waste the opportunity. They went in there with a plan. Somebody just had a better plan.
Somebody was a better man that night, and it turned out to be Charles Oliveira. But I have to say this. Three guys that I became a fan of last night. Michael Chandler. Bruce, I'm sorry, Beneil Dariush. And I really, I can't think of the third one. Dang it.
Oh, wow. Good job, Rick Perry.
Oh, that's an interesting, I like that. But definitely Beneil Dariush, after learning how he's using his funds to to get to build that, well, he's built already and has gone twice to visit the children in Haiti with the orphanage. That really won me over. I think Michael Chandler, in defeat, he was very humble. And then, I'm already a fan of Charles Oliveira, but Charles Oliveira, him talking about what it's like to be the champion, that really moved me as well. So I guess it's really two, because I was already a fan of Charles Oliveira. All right.
I mean, go ahead.
No, you got anything else? I'm going to wrap this up.
Oh, no, I just said that I totally agree. I mean, so to wrap it up, there was no suck fights last night. Okay. Nope. A couple of controversies with the judges. Yes. Never leave it in the hand of the judges. Never. And we got a champion worthy, and possibly a number one contender worthy, all in one night. Okay, so I can say watch the lightweight division. It is going to be fire for the next 6 months.
There it is. Let's go ahead and close the book on this one and put this one on the shelf. This card is history. Now we're going to go into our segment where we look at the headlines that are making waves in the MMA world with Finding the Angles. This is Finding the Angles. This is where we talk about the headlines that are making waves in the MMA world. And, the hard part about doing the show on Sunday is the fact that Monday and Tuesday headlines come out and we're like, oh, we got to wait a whole week to get to them. Coming out of Bellator 258, Anthony Rumble Johnson makes his triumphant return, knocking out a late fight replacement, but going to show that he's still got that power. And
there was a point that somebody said that he may not have that power going in there.
I'm just saying. No, I don't think anybody questioned it, but everybody wanted to see it. And when they saw it, they're like, yep, still got it.
Like, yeah, it's still there.
Dude essentially walks out of the arena in Uncasville, Connecticut, and is promptly arrested by the New Canaan Police Department for having committed identity theft, allegedly.
Because he fit the description?
No. Apparently, he illegally used a credit card to purchase a round-trip airline ticket from Fort Lauderdale, Florida to Newark, New Jersey. The name of the passenger was Anthony Johnson. A subsequent investigation determined Johnson used the illegally obtained credit card to purchase an airline ticket. An arrest warrant was obtained for Johnson for the above charges. So it's not that it was someone who was named Anthony Johnson. It was Anthony Johnson. Dude got arrested. Dude, so now it starts to ask the question. I mean, prove that it's mistaken identity. But I don't see anybody saying a mistaken identity here.
Wait. Let me get this right. Anthony Rumble Johnson. All right. Veteran mixed martial artist. Been around the game for a minute. Okay. He illegally used a credit card to travel. He used somebody else's identity.
So you have to begin to ask the question, why did Anthony Johnson come back to MMA? Because, dude, if you got to use a stolen credit card to book a flight to go to your fight,
I don't know, dog. Okay.
Listen, don't shoot the messenger here.
I know.
Oh, well, no, actually, this didn't happen. This didn't happen on his flight to the thing. It says on on November 9th, 2019, they got a complaint regarding a victim having had their credit card being used by a third party without permission. The New Canaan police stated that the arrest record for Johnson. So basically this happened in 2019, but that's when the conversations about him coming back to MMA started, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, hold on, because you said it happened back in May of 2019?
November 9 of 2019.
2019. Okay, because back in May, he had that was that thing that was going on with his girlfriend. That him and his girlfriend had an incident.
So do you think that the person who called the police was his girlfriend trying to get him arrested?
Man, hit my music, dog.
Oh,
okay. I mean, it could be. I mean, I can't see Anthony. I can't see that happening. You telling me that your coaching staff, your team can't front no money to get you there? You're saying that Uncle Dana can't front you to get there?
Well, he's fighting.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Uncle Scott. Yeah, you saying Uncle Scott can't front you some cash? Like, man, get on up here. I would think that would be a part of the contract that they would get you transported there, as well as transported back home.
So I misspoke because I said that he used the flight to get to the thing, but this took place in 2019. We're in 2021, so this arrest warrant.
So that was 2 years ago. Okay.
The arrest warrant was for him using the credit card, but they arrested him after his fight at UFC Bellator 258.
Oh yeah, definitely hit my music now, because I think that might have something to do with the girlfriend. I think that
might. So yeah, we got to keep our eye on this story because Anthony Johnson. I mean, this is one of our beloved fighters from the UFC, and we want to see him, continue to make his way up the light heavyweight ranks at Bellator. But that's not the only Bellator controversy that happened last week. Derek Anderson suspended for 120 days for falsifying Bellator 258 pre-fight medicals. So you don't know who Derek Anderson is. Most people don't know. He is the guy that took the kick from Michael Venom Page to the face. Derek Anderson is the guy Derek Anderson fought Michael Venom Page at Bellator 258. Was finished because Michael Venom Page kicked his nose in, like you know how we talk about that deadly punch where you push somebody's nose into their brain.
Right.
Well, Michael Venom Page attempted to do that with a kick to Derek Anderson's nose. If you look at the pictures, it literally is his forehead coming down to nothing, and then his nose pops out. Like that whole bridge of his nose gone.
My God.
Yeah.
Let me look.
Just click the link.
I like it.
It's
I'm gonna click the link. the link.
So here's why he got in trouble, because what he said was he went on Instagram and said that during his fight camp he went to the hospital 4 times for kidney failure. But before he fights in the pre-fight medical, he has to say whether or not he had any complications in training, which he said no. So in saying on his Instagram that he went to the hospital 4 times during training for kidney failure, there is no way that Bellator would have let him fight that night. And so he lied.
That dude.
Yes, that dude. That's the dude. So So it says, when you falsify a pre-fight medical form, when they ask you about your health, that's a concern of mine. And this comes from Mike Mazzulli, who is the head of the Mohegan Sun Tribe Department of Athletic Regulation. You know, we're worried about fighter safety. That's his biggest problem. I'm not going to take it lightly. It's not okay. So because of that, he's going to be off for 6 months. Wait, 120 days.
This fall.
No, it's 4 months. Sorry. 4 months.
120 days, 4 months.
So 4 month suspension for lying on your pre-fight medicals. But you know, I personally, who's he gonna fight in 4 months? His nose is shattered.
Yeah. So that's almost like a don't do it again.
Stop that. Stop that.
Shame on you.
Shame. We're gonna flip over to PFL for just a moment. Now we talked last week. We talked a little bit about Fabricio Verdum, who lost his opening round fight at the heavyweight Grand Prix, or the heavyweight tournament at PFL. Basically, he had Renan Ferreira in a triangle armbar, and so he had locked that in, and then Ferreira comes in on Fabricio Verdum, gives him a little one of those training taps, right? You know, when you're training jiu-jitsu and they get you in an arm lock, whatever, you give them a 1-2, a little quick tap, you know, to say, okay, you got me. So Ferreira does that. Give him a little tap, and so Fabricio Verdum loosens up the hold, and the dude starts raining punches, TKOs Fabricio Verdum. So Fabricio Verdum gets up and he's like, no, this dude tapped. I could have put him to sleep. I could have broken his arm, but I let him go. And he finished. Referee was not in a position to be able to see the tap. So here's the rest of the story. Paul Harvey, this is the rest of the story. Fabricio Verdum takes it to the athletic commission. The athletic commission sees the phantom tap and rules the fight a no contest. So this doesn't go as a loss against Fabricio Verdum, but it's very clear that the dude gives a little tap, which is game. It's game veteran stuff right there. Like, we've seen this happen in the UFC, where when you're stuck and you know that you can't get out, you give the little training tap sometimes to see if it will instinctually trigger the fighter to let go, right? Yeah. And so it did. It worked. It worked.
I'm looking at it, and yeah, he did do the tap. He clearly did that. Come on, man.
But it was out of the view of the ref, and it was just a little quick double tap. You know, it wasn't like a tap like you see, like whenever they're in pain, you get like a series of taps, or you don't see that Ferreira loosen it. And this is what George was talking about last week. He's like, usually when you tap, you relax yourself because you're beaten, right? Ferreira never did that. Ferreira did the double tap, phantom tap, and then kept raining punches. So, you know, the question becomes, you know, Fabricio, if you feel the tap, but you get punched right after that, maybe you don't let it go.
Well, maybe it was just so quick, because I'm looking there and he's like, okay, I see you do it, and then bow! He catches one for his troubles. So I don't think it was. I take nothing away from Fabricio. All right, number one, he's a high-level jiu-jitsu fighter at heavyweight. Number two, you know, he's been doing this for so long that he knew what was going on. If he sits there, Fabricio is the type. If he sits there and says the dude tap, you might want to really look into that. And it is clear as day. And I don't even roll, okay? But it's clear as day that he tapped twice. That he hit him with the double tap. So, Fabricio, my best advice, next time, let him tap until the referee tells you to till the referee is pulling him off. Okay.
Husamar Palhares. Remember Husamar Palhares? Dude gets you in a
dude Mike gets Tyson you of MMA. Yes,
he gets you in a knee lock. He doesn't let go. You tap. He still got you in the knee lock. The referee has to get a crowbar and pry him off your knee. Like,
exactly.
You know, that's what you get in if people tap and then they don't stop fighting.
Yeah, and then see, and like Husamar said, Husamar's trainer said that he was fighting for his life, and I'm like, how long was he fighting in Real Heroes again? You know, that's why I need to know, because I need to go back to see those videotapes, because those Real Heroes, that's bare knuckle mixed martial arts at its finest. You talk about the violence that you don't like, you don't watch Real Heroes.
We're gonna get it again with Game Bred Fighting Championships. That's gonna be,
but see, there's a difference though with Game Bred Fighting Championships. He said that they're gonna follow the State Athletic Commission, except for one instance, no gloves. I can respect that.
You know, I like to have gloves.
Man, gloves are for training.
Speaking of people who who have been in tight situations for an armbar and things like that, Dan Hardy. Mm-hmm. Dan Hardy is finally out of the UFC, became part of the 60 without actually fighting. It's been 13 years since Dan Hardy fought his last fight. Remember, he was diagnosed with Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome, which is a heart condition that can cause an abnormally fast heartbeat, palpitations, shortness of breath, and you could lead to cardiac arrest. So he, because of health reasons, left the UFC, was a color commentator for a very long time, especially for fights in Europe. And then what happened was he got into it with some of the staff at the UFC. That created a falling out. And so then he requested that he wanted to be released, not only from his contract, but the ability to potentially fight again. So Dan Hardy, we could see fight in another promotion. Would you be interested in seeing a Dan Hardy who hasn't fought in 13 years go back in the octagon? I mean, this is a dumb question, but
okay, so let's talk about that. All right, let's see. Wait, hold on before I lean in on that. Okay, good. You're not talking about it. All right, so are we going to talk about sucky siblings? Are we going to talk about sucky siblings today?
We are.
Okay. All right, because I just want to say that there's another fighter that took 12 years off from having a perfect MMA record. They took 12 years off to come back, and they started suffering some losses then. So, I mean, it's possible. Do I want to see it? Dan Hardy he wasn't really a needle mover for me, dude. I mean, take nothing away from the man. Take nothing away from his skill or anything like that. He was okay fighter. He was an okay fighter that impressed me, that he didn't submit when George St Pierre turned into an arm collector, all right, and tried to take his arm home. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So if I saw Dan Hardy's name on a fight poster somewhere, I would be mildly interested just to see what he can do if he still has it, because it's been so long. Like, I just don't think that he's the same Dan Hardy that we saw 12 years ago. Exactly.
All right. I'm gonna do one more before we go into the final segment. Luke Rockhold says he's ready for a comeback, but he needs a sucker willing to fight him. Luke Rockhold is trying to get a fight with a top 10 middleweight. Nobody wants to fight him. He's trying to make it sound like people scared of him. Ain't nobody scared of Luke Rockhold anymore. Dude got a chin. He's got a glass jaw. It's like, we've seen him put out enough times now that I don't think anybody's really scared of him like they used to be. So it's not a needle mover for anybody for him fighting. He just needs to get a fight. Go fight some 15 guy.
Yeah. And he's saying it right. He says he needs to find a sucker willing to fight for him. When he says sucker, he means somebody who is just like, they think they're going to do something, they're going to do some real damage and move the needle forward. They're not going to move the needle forward fighting Luke Rockhold. I don't care. Okay. Luke, stay to them draws, dog. Okay. Stay to modeling draws. That's all you got. Okay. That's it. Leave the fight game for people who are younger than you. You got a chin. Your chin is super sus. Okay. It is sus like your chin has been on Among Us, and we know. Okay. Your chin shows up on Among Us, the game. We already know who's doing it. It's your chin. That's it. Automatically.
Okay. I thought you were saying his chin shows up on a manga, like a Japanese comic book. But you're saying Among Us.
Among Us. Among Us. his wait, if I say, does it sound like a manga? Because I can make a joke on a manga. Everybody knows that when your chin shows up, it's not the strongest one on the panel. We know this. Okay, your chin is not sitting there looking like this. It is not doing that. All right, your chin is done, dog. Okay, just let it go. Let fighting go. I get it. You're that dude. You gotta be that dude. That's he's a pretty boy, but he can fight. Don't do that. Okay, just be the pretty boy that knows how to fight. It doesn't mean that you do fight. Okay, you just know how to fight. Because everybody knows once they tap that chin, you are. Hey, KO.
Yeah.
KO.
Once they top that chin, you're looking up at the lights again.
Exactly.
Last story. This is a dedication. I'm dedicating this to a friend of the show, Johnny Hearns. This is called Sucky Siblings. So here we go. There are rare fighters in the UFC that actually have their siblings fighting alongside them. So you have Nick Diaz and Nate Diaz, right? You know, even though they weren't blood relatives, you had Frank Shamrock and Ken Shamrock, right? You know, but these days you've got fighters who have siblings that are also fighters fighting together. You know, another one is Sage Northcutt and his sister. I forgot what her Colby Northcutt. She, you know,
she's tall, dude. Okay, she is like,
it's crazy because she's got like a featherweight body, but she's fighting at like 115, and it's just crazy. Like Megan Anderson fighting against like a Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Like that's how much bigger she is than the other fighters.
Yes.
But there is clear that somebody got the fight DNA and somebody did not get the fight DNA.
Oh, come on now.
Okay, so, you know, Anthony Pettis, Sergio Pettis. Anthony Pettis, world beater in WEC and the UFC, and then he starts to decline. Sergio Pettis, road to middle in UFC, goes to Bellator, becomes champ.
So he has some DNA. He's got DNA.
He got a little bit of DNA. He got a little bit of that DNA in him because he's now talking, I'm going to unite Bellator, Ryzen, and ONE FC championships. That's how he's talking. So Sergio ain't no sucky sibling.
Okay. All right.
So Brandon Sales in the PFL heavyweight tournament fought Muhammad Usman. Do you know whose brother he is?
I could take a wild guess. That's Kamaru's brother.
Kamaru Usman's brother, Muhammad the Motor Usman, fought in the first round of the $1 million heavyweight tournament for the PFL and got put to sleep, like unconscious on the mat, asleep.
For $1 million, I'll put anybody to sleep too.
No. You gotta fight through a gauntlet of fighters in order to get to the $1 million. This is round number 1. He got put to sleep by a guy we ain't ever even heard of before.
Well, I mean, let's put it out there. How many people heard of Muhammad, before us today?
Yeah, you know, the number of people who heard of Muhammad are probably, it's always follows the Kamaru Usman's brother. Even on the headline, Kamaru Usman's brother. Somebody got the fight DNA. Somebody did not get the fight DNA.
Man, yes. Kamaru don't look. Kamaru, I'm gonna, all right.
Shoot,
so,
Muhammad. We don't want either one of them because Muhammad is a freaking heavyweight beast, dude.
Exactly, and because I'm getting ready to do a shameless plug on my Instagram because me and George, last night George was talking about that he's in training camp, which is why he's here. He's done killed like 3 of his training partners this morning, so he's got to duck out.
Yeah, he's like Tony Ferguson, broke a training partner's wrist because he made broke a training partner's rib because he made him do it.
Well, he was talking about how he's losing weight, and I'm like, you know what? As I look down at my shape, and I'm like, you know what? I'll be your Huckleberry. I'll lose weight with you. So that's what I'm going to be chronicling on my Instagram for the next couple of weeks. Well, one of the things I was going to do was actually walk my happy butt down to Fortis, which is where I know Fortis MMA, which is here in Dallas, that I think that Kamaru trains at from time to time. Now, because of this conversation, I'm gonna have to avoid that part of my escapades, okay?
Listen.
Because I don't want to get folded up because they're like, "Oh, you are on that pocket." No, I'll be like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." All
listen,
right? And,
listen. If Kamaru Usman or Muhammad Usman has a problem with me, they can come up here to Denver, Colorado, and ask for me, Kelechi Onyebuchi. You can find me at Factory X. Just come find me. Kelechi Onyebuchi. I'm here in Denver waiting for y'all. That's what you get, Kelechi, for not coming on the show. See?
Yep, he's shooting hooky too, huh?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's what you get.
Okay.
So, but still.
Yes.
Somebody got the fight DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody didn't get it.
Who else you got, man? Who else you got?
So last night, UFC 262, first fight of the prelims, we had Andrea KGB Lee fighting none other than the Pantera, Antonina Shevchenko.
Okay.
Armbar submission victory for Andrea Lee. Andrea really won the first round and then took the second round as well. Finished the fight in the second round. Andrea Lee won. Now, here's the thing. This is fighting at 125 pounds. Who is the 125-pound champion in the women's UFC? Valentina Shevchenko. Valentina has the same last name as Antonina. They must be sisters.
Okay, so let's talk about that. All right. Yes, they are sisters. You know,
fight DNA.
Same mama.
Danae, get the fight.
Okay. So I'm not now. See, this is where I have to draw the line.
Oh, come on! Don't.
Right, so no, I know. Because Antonina, she's older. First of all, number two, she's like she's Muay Thai. Okay, she is 39-1 in Muay Thai fight. She actually did MMA back in 2002. Went 3-0 and been like, I guess I'm not making that much money. Let me take a break. And took a 12-year break and then came back. And, she's there, okay? So had she stayed in MMA, she probably would have been another Valentina. So she got DNA.
I think you're the one who said it. If wishes and hopes were... how does that go?
I did not say that.
Like okay, well that's if Muhammad Usman hadn't played football, maybe he would have been better. But the fact is, if Sergio Pettis would have grown a couple more inches, maybe he would have been better.
But
here's the thing.
You're right.
Here's the thing. All jokes aside,
yeah.
This is why this is a bit. It's all designed to be funny.
Exactly.
When you have a star as your sibling, you have the Kamaru Usman, you have the Anthony Pettis, and you have Valentina Shevchenko as your sibling. The expectation is that you also are going to be a phenomenal fighter.
Exactly.
Anthony
Look at
Shevchenko,
Michael Jackson.
Yeah, Muhammad Usman. Sergio Pettis, even though Sergio's seeing some success right now, they are great fighters. They made it into these elite promotions, but they are not their siblings. No. They are different people. And so to hold this expectation that they have to be as good because they come from the same stock, because they go to the same training camps with the same coaches, and they should have the same results is bogus. Yes. And so this is all fun and games to tease and to make jokes, but at the end of the day, Antonina is not Valentina. She's got a different body shape. Yeah. She can't do what Valentina does. She's exactly different person. Kamaru Usman,
if they were twins, it would be one thing,
But even if they're twins, they're still two different people. Even if they're identical DNA, perfect replicas of each other, they're still different people. And so even if they have, but even if they, even if they have the same training, they were all both the same period of time in the sport. At the end of the day, how a decision one person makes versus a decision that another person makes, Michael Chandler is proof to it that this is a game of inches and seconds. And so you making the same decision a second later could end up with you getting finished. So the results could take you into two totally different pathways, and you can't compare the two. It's just not
okay.
Fair.
Okay, so hold on.
It's fun to make the joke.
You know what? And I have to. There are 4 twins in MMA right now. 2 we were aware of. 2 we didn't. We're not aware of yet, but we will. Okay. We soon will be. Nogueira brothers,
right?
The Huas, okay, Marilia and Mauricio.
I don't know Marilia very well. I'll just know Mauricio.
Mauricio is Ninja. Mauricio is the Shogun.
Okay.
Those twins.
Question: Are they identical twins or are they fraternal twins?
I think they are. I think the Nogueiras are identical. I think the Huas are fraternal. Okay. I think they're fraternal.
All right, and who are the 2 that we don't know?
They're coming up. Jermel and Jamal Charlo, and there's another pair. They're coming out of Colombia. So is it under Chinzo? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Excuse me. The other pair is Chinzo and Lyoto Machida.
Oh,
he has a brother.
I didn't know he had a brother.
Yes. So yeah,
right,
there you go.
There you go. All right. So I'm so for Johnny Hearns out there, this is just a bit.
No,
it's
John.
Just funny because of the general belief that siblings who fight have to be as good as each other. It's just a comedic bit. That's all it is. Don't really think that Antonina Shevchenko sucks.
Although, no, Johnny. He does believe that, Johnny.
Okay, maybe Antonina.
Sweep the leg,
maybe
Johnny.
Antonina. Not as good as Valentina.
Sweep the leg, Johnny.
All right, let's get into our final segment of the day. This is the fight card. We're going to look at the fights that are happening this weekend on the fight card. All right, this is the fight card. This is where we talk about the fights that are coming up this weekend. Bellator 259, Cyborg versus Smith 2. That's right. I finally get my shot at Chris Cyborg. She beat me earlier, but I'm gonna get her. No, I'm kidding. This is.
Yeah, I was gonna say you died earlier. That's what happened.
Yeah,
she beat you and killed you, and we had to resuscitate you. That's what happened.
Yeah, this is Cyborg versus Smith 2. This is Leslie Smith, Friday, May 21st, 2021, Mohegan Sun Arena in Uncasville, Connecticut. We've got 5 fights on the card. Jaleel Willis versus Macon Mendoka. You got Austin Vanderford versus Fabian Edwards. Christian Edwards versus Ben Parrish. Darian Caldwell, who used to be a champion over in Bellator. Facing off against Leandro Higo. And then in the main event of the evening, we've got Chris Cyborg versus Leslie Smith. And, of course, we talked about Leslie Smith last week on the show because she was propagating a little bit of conspiracy theories, which we didn't like.
Hold on. Once again, that's one of those things you really have to consider the source on, especially when it comes to Leslie Smith. Is Leslie Smith a credible source to say something like that? Because when you say something like that, you really put your reputation and everything who you are on the line. And do you think she's willing to sacrifice something like that, saying that?
So for those of you who didn't listen to last week's show, basically she's giving credibility to Diego Sanchez's concerns that the UFC could have it out for him to potentially make it look like he committed suicide, to keep him silent about bombshells he's got, uncovering things about the UFC that the UFC doesn't want to know about. Leslie Smith told a story about, some alleged activities that took place that she's attributing indirectly from the UFC on BJ Penn before he fought George St Pierre for the title. Basically, a prostitute was murdered in the hotel where BJ Penn was staying, and her body was left in front of his room. Police discovered it and brought BJ Penn into questioning the night before the fight.
Yeah,
so
that's a crazy story.
It's a crazy story.
Yeah. I don't know, but okay. So with that being said, if anybody's actually listened to the conversation that Josh Fabia and Diego Sanchez had with the UFC lawyers, okay, you know what? Once upon a time in life, I was a paralegal, and I've never heard of a lawyer sounding like that to anybody, to any client. Okay, they may talk like that behind closed doors and whatever, but talking to an actual client, okay, or defendant or whichever.
Wait.
Okay,
this is the UFC's. No. Hold on. This is the UFC's attorney talking to Fabia.
Josh Fabia.
Yeah. So yes, then you would absolutely hear them talk that way, because at the end of the day, it was suspicious. All of this was suspicious. We don't have time on the show today to kind of adjudicate all of this, but the request initially, and you didn't get a chance to weigh in on it. So I know that you've got things to say, but Leslie Smith, in telling this story to try to give credibility to what seems to be anxiety that Diego Sanchez has about the UFC having it in for him, I think was unfounded and unfair, because Leslie Smith, let's not forget, she is part of the class action lawsuit and trying to work on building a fighters union that will directly affect the UFC. She's got everything to gain to try to create this persona that the UFC is some type of maniacal corporation bent on hurting its fighters and people who are, physically hurting its fighters and people who are opposing.
But Ryan, she has everything to lose and then some if this is just a crock story, though. That's what I'm saying. I mean, there are hills to die on, and me trying to create a fighters union and staking everything I am for all the right reasons, this hill is not necessarily the hill I'm going to die on unless I got receipts.
So
okay, unless I got absolute proof.
But this is where you go into nuance, and the nuance here is she never said that the UFC did this. What she did was she told the story of BJ Penn in the conversation about the anxiety that Diego Sanchez has. So what she's basically doing is she's connecting two things indirectly by its position in the conversation, but she's not actually saying that the UFC did it. She's just like, shruggers, you tell the story and you're like, make of it what you want, because the conversation is the UFC is trying to hurt Diego Sanchez, and so then you talk about this thing that could affect Diego, that affected BJ Penn, and go, how's that for a distraction? That is undercutting the UFC's integrity by telling the story. She's not drawing the lines. She's just insinuating that those two things, which don't have anything to do with each other, have something to do with each other.
See, and that's why Ryan is such the master debater. Okay, so moving on.
I'm a cunning linguist. That's right.
Anyway,
so we're gonna make flash fight picks. Chris Cyborg versus Leslie Smith. I got Chris Cyborg. I'm gonna go out on a limb here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go out on a limb with you and sit there and be like, yeah, Chris Cyborg's gonna murder her. Yes.
Yeah, like the only person that I really want to see Chris Cyborg fight is Amanda Nunes, and that fight's never going to happen again. So
no, they're going to keep that away from Cyborg. They're going to keep those two away as far as possible.
Yeah, and I still think that we're not going to get into it, but I think that Amanda Nunes was fighting for her life, throwing punches with her eyes closed. Go back and watch the film.
Okay. Oh yeah,
UFC
absolutely.
Vegas 27, Font versus Garbrandt. Cody Garbrandt finally got over that COVID-19 after effect, and now he's fighting Rob Font. We'll see. UFC Vegas 27, May 22nd, 2021 at the Apex Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. We have 6 fights on the card. David Dvorak versus Halian Paiva. We've got Felicia Spencer versus Norma Dumont. Justin Tafa versus Jared Vandera. And then we're going to go to the 3 fights that we're going to pick tonight. Carla Esparza, the Cookie Monster, versus Yan Xiaonan. You've got Jack Hermanson versus Edmund Shabazian. And then in the main event, you've got Rob Font versus Cody Garbrandt. All right, let's go with the Carla Esparza fight. Who do you got, Carla Esparza or Yan Xiaonan?
I got Carla Esparza because none of y'all put no respect on her name. All right, I'm putting some respect on her name.
We're going to shine up that freaking crow button. Let me just go ahead and play it now.
Oh, man, no respect on her name. What's up, Carla? I got you. Okay, I got you, Carla.
Carla Esparza is the top of the second tier, but you got
to that next
top
fight.
tier. Xiaonan is going. I say Xiaonan's going to finish her inside of 2 rounds. To be honest,
man. Next fight,
that's the Joker Hermanson versus Edmund Shabazian. You got the golden boy versus the Joker. Who you got?
I'm going with the Joker. Jack Hermanson. He every time I've seen him fight, I was like, oh, he ain't gonna win. He's gonna win.
So this is a fight. This is one that George and I picked last week. Unfortunately, because of something that happened, this fight was moved to this card. It was supposed to be last week. All right, so I'm picking Jack Hermanson as well. Although, I am interested in seeing how Shabazian comes back. He hasn't fought in a while. Rob Font versus Cody Garbrandt, main event. Who you got?
Man, it all depends on Cody's health. Okay, it really does. I'm questioning Cody's health for the simple fact that we know he is a gamed fighter. He'll fight anything. Okay, it doesn't matter the weight class. It doesn't matter if it's human or not. If it's a brick, if it's a wall, if it's a elephant, he'll punch it. All right. If he's healthy, if he's truly healthy, I give it to Cody all day long. If he's not, it's Rob Font. It's gonna be Rob Font.
I need you to make a pick.
Oh yeah, dang. Oh my bad. Cody. I'll give it to Cody. Cody until I see him cough. If he coughs once, I'm out.
All right. I'm going with Rob Font. I just can't get on Cody's bandwagon because dude fights angry. He gets hit and then he goes into he throws the game plan out the window. And I've seen too many times TJ Dillashaw just eats him alive like that. So no, I think Cody Garbrandt. He's too volatile for me.
He might have calmed down. We don't know yet. We don't know that.
We'll see. I'll eat crow on that one if I have to, but I'm not picking Cody Garbrandt until I see him actually stick to a game plan. Stick to the game plan or get rid of your coaches. And we know how that works out. Ask Mike Perry how it works out.
Oh, hey, Mike Perry. Hey, let's. Mike Perry is getting. Didn't he grab some coaches lately? No, he didn't grab any coaches lately.
No, because Darren Till's trying to help the dude out, sort of.
And he kind of slapped Darren Till's hand.
Follow us on social media on Instagram. I'm at Combat Sports Talk. John?
And I'm at Keys to Victory, and I promise you I will try to make this journey as interesting as possible. I'll be posting shortly after the show, actually. Right. My first post telling you what's all going on with me and how we're going to do this. All right?
Very cool. Very cool. If you want to follow George Stallworth, you can go to @darkside_Muay Thai_. We think that he may be getting a fight contract very soon. And so we're going to also chronicle his camp where our fingers are crossed. I've been following up with him every few days just to see if he's going to get a fight contract or not. we may get to go and see George Stallworth do his thing. G Money in action one more time. And if you want to follow Kelechi Onyebuchi, you do it at Push Pull Pray on Instagram. Find us on our website at www.combatsportstalk.com, and we are on all of your favorite podcasting platforms. I want to send a shout out to MMA Junkie, MMA Fighting, MMA Mania, Bloody Elbow, and the Intelligent Defense Discussion Group. All the sites out there that provide the stories that we use on our show, and on Facebook, our Intelligent Defense Discussion Group, MMA Discussion Group, is where we like to start having those conversations. So if you want to go back and forth with us, you can join our Intelligent Defense Discussion Group and kick off a topic. We'll let you know exactly what we think. And let me just say, I will go round and round and round and round with you on a topic because
it will. It will.
Yeah, that's my heart. It's my love.
That's what he did.
It's my passion.
That's what he do, people. Trust me.
That's what I do.
6 o'clock in the morning, he's coming with a discussion. You're like, what is this? Okay. I don't even operate at 6 o'clock anymore in the morning, like talking to people. And here's Ryan with a topic that he wants to go with somebody. And somebody always tries to tell him to go to bed, and he immediately goes, he goes in for it. So yeah. There
you have it. So if you want to have a discussion, come at me, bro. So on behalf of John Keys, my name is Ryan Smith, reminding you to keep your hands up, your chin tucked, and throw bombs. We'll catch you next time.